All right, welcome back to the U.S. Women's Open here at Pebble Beach. We're with Emilia Migliaccio. How meaningful is it to be in this week's historic field?
Oh my gosh. I mean, Lydia said it, and Nelly and everyone else. It means everything. I mean, this is probably going to be my last competitive tournament for a while at least. So to have it be the U.S. Women's Open at Pebble Beach is just incredible. People have been talking about how Pebble is like sensory overload. Everything just feels different to a greater amount. So it's so special to be here. I'm happy. My husband's here, my college coach is here, her family's here. We're staying on property, so it's really just a, very meaningful week.
And had you been to Pebble Beach before? Have you played the golf course prior to this week?
No, this is my first time, and we actually got out. We were here last week as well, so I got invited to play in the Friends of Pebble charity tournament. So that was Pebble, Spyglass, and then my husband and I got to play Cypress on Friday. But that was our first time. So first time seeing the course. I watched some YouTube videos, kind of. I've watched the AT&T a little bit, but I think there's Every Shot Tiger hit in 2019, and just stuff like that, just to get a feel. But it's never the same when you're on property, so it's remarkable.
Sure. And this year you went back to Wake for a fifth year, and you guys obviously won the title. So how rewarding was that, making that decision and then seeing it play out?
Yeah, I still remember. So Ryan, our assistant, he walked with me the last 3 holes, and I had won 14 and 15 to go 3 up, and then to win on 16. And I'm the only player who was still on the team from 2019 when we lost in the finals. So to have Ryan there, and when I officially won, and then to be able to, give him a big hug, it's the best feeling. Aside from marrying my husband, the best feeling that I've ever experienced. Just so much, all the work and adversity and challenges and victories that you go through, it's all for a moment like that. And to have it happen on my last year, I mean, it's really just a storybook ending. Like I couldn't be more grateful and proud of myself and our team for getting it done.
And you do have your college coach on the bag this week. How excited are you guys for this week?
I'm so excited. So my parents are actually in Italy for my cousin's wedding. So my mom was out for the caddy job, but Kim has never caddied for me. Yeah, obviously she's walked with me a couple holes in college, but we work really well together. We have very similar personalities, and she's obviously really good at what she does. So it's going to be just a really fun time. We're just going to embrace it and see how it goes.
And last one from me before we open up for questions. You're working with NBC this week, doing some on-course reporting. How'd that come about, and how are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, so the first time I worked the U.S. Women's Open was last year at Pine Needles. I was on-course reporter on Peacock, and so they scheduled me again for Pebble Beach, which I was really excited about. And then I had signed up for my qualifier around the same time, and I asked them, would it be possible, since Peacock has a morning and afternoon stream, could we work around and schedule my tee times around my Peacock stream, and would I be able to do both? And they were really excited about it, so that was cool that they were super pumped and were rooting for me. Like, hey, we were going to root extra hard that you qualify, because it'd be really cool to have someone on the broadcast who's playing in the tournament. So that's kind of how it came to be, and today is sort of the first day where I'm really kind of juggling both things. We had our production meeting at 11 today, and I got all my stuff. I'm gonna finalize all my research and preparation tonight. So it's definitely fun. I mean, I don't tee off until 1:18, so I guess I had to use the time in some way. So why not, exactly, commentate on some golf?
Yep. And we'll open up for questions now up front.
How have you balanced doing preparation for the broadcast side versus preparing for your last event?
Yeah, I would say leading up until today, before was probably 80% or maybe even 90% just focused on golf. I mean, there's not much you can prepare for until you get player bios and knowing who for me, luckily I just have to know 3 players. So knowing who your featured groups are, and Yeah, so I would say, obviously, I've been in touch with the golf news and kind of keeping up to date with those things, but it was not until today where maybe it's a little more 60-40, and then I feel I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing, so when I'm out in the broadcast, I'm just going to be really excited to get to call golf and see how they play. I mean, I have Lexi, Jin Young, and Nelly, and I played a practice round with Lexi yesterday, so I'm really excited. I hope they play well, and I get to watch some great golf.
What was the practice round with Lexi like?
It was great. She's very just chill, happy-go-lucky, very approachable. Like sometimes with professional golfers, you don't think they're approachable because, they're in the middle of their practice and stuff, but they really are, as long as you just, put yourself out there and say hello. So I had met Lexi. I I do a podcast with Bridgestone, so I had interviewed Lexi at the PGA show for them. And so that's where we sort of officially met. I'd met her before at Junior Solheim's and stuff, but I think that's where she sort of put my name, face and name, maybe recognized me a little bit. But there was this funny moment on the 13th hole where my coach was lining me up just on a couple holes just to check my aim. And so I had turned around and thinking I was looking at John, my coach, and I looked straight at Lexi, and as I was looking at her, I said, okay, I'm aimed at the left palm tree. And she was like, go on, what do you want? I said, okay, you can line me up. So that was just like a funny exchange. But her family was there. She's super nice, and obviously rooting for her hard this week.
What's it felt like preparing for your last competitive event for a while?
It's felt great. I mean, honestly, it's felt the same. Like, I'm not really thinking about that it's my last tournament. If anything, I have to think about it consciously, just so I'm extra grateful for where I am and what I get to do and what this means for the history of women's golf. But, I mean, I just go about it the same way, the same preparation. People say, oh, is it like less pressure that you're not turning pro and you're for college golf and that stuff? And I would say like the pressure and the practice is all the same. Obviously, the more experience you get, you're able to kind of deal with the high stakes of different tournaments. So it would just be a great learning experience, and really getting to develop relationship with the players too for my broadcasting career is like a very important component for this week as well.
Are there any drills you will or will not miss from preparing for competitive events?
Honestly, probably just the extensive amount of effort that it takes. You have to, the best players in the world, they're out there, it's 8 to 10 hour days if you want to be the best at what you do. And that maybe doesn't include working out and doing extra recovery stuff. So I think just, I love to train and I love to compete, but I'm really grateful that my golf leading up to now has opened another opportunity where I can still travel. I hope to travel 30 weeks next year, but that won't be as much as traveling as a professional golfer. And then when I'm off, I can really enjoy my time off. And, I'll probably be practicing a decent amount too, just because I love the game, but it won't be that same intensity, which I think that I will enjoy.
Hi. I may have missed it earlier, but I wondered if you could discuss your broadcasting experiences. And I've talked to other golfers through the years who have had pro careers and gone into broadcasting, and they've learned different things about speech pattern, maybe slowing or speeding up her voice or accentuating sentences. Could you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once I started working on camera, which was the U.S. Girls Junior in 2021, I really haven't looked at a broadcast the same. I'm always listening to people on air, how they're describing certain situations, how they're heightening someone's golf shot, and maybe some things where I'd probably say that a little differently. You want to admire and look up to the best in the game in any industry, but you also want to pave your own path and ways that you like to tell the narrative. So that's just been really great. I love listening to the broadcast, and yeah, I would say it really just putting yourself out there. That's the only way you get better, getting your reps in. So that's really my goal now as a broadcaster, trying to get my reps in, do as much golf as I can, and eventually get to the main telecast and kind of the highest tournaments, biggest tournaments in golf. And luckily, I'm able to be here at the Women's Open for broadcasting. So just really grateful for the opportunities that NBC has given me, and I'm excited to show them what I got.
If you care to, are there broadcasters whose styles you admire and like the most? And of course, maybe there's someone who you wouldn't want to say, but are there other styles that aren't as appealing to you? I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's definitely Trevor Immelman. I mean, he is incredible. Like, he always has something to say, and it's always just so insightful. It's never anything like blah. Like, it's like, oh, wow, like, that's really good insight. And even if a player, like, hits a bad shot or maybe doesn't make the right decision, he frames it in a way that's helpful for someone who, you know, maybe doesn't know golf as well or is like, oh, why'd they hit that shot? And he explains that. So I really like that. I love Morgan Pressel. I think she knows all the players so well because she's been out here. So she just has so much insight to give. Kay was kind of the first person who I called, and, you know, I love the way she tells a story. She has a very rich vocabulary and definitely has, you know, her style of narration that I really admire. Cara Banks as well. Her voice, she's just so smooth when she speaks. And yeah, so I love, those are just, I mean, there's so many people. There's definitely, like, you know, 99% of the people I listen to, I really enjoy. So, but those are a few highlights that those are, you know, men and women that I've really listened to specifically. Jim Nance, of course, is the best in the game. I listened to a whole, like, hour podcast with him, and just getting to learn his story and how he prepares. Mike Tirico. I feel like I'm maybe forgetting a couple names as well, but those are just some that, you know, I listen to all the time and just really try to soak in everything that they have to give.
You mentioned traveling 30 weeks next year. Is that going to mostly be for broadcasting?
Yes, I mean, that is not official, so I'm just sort of, that's kind of a goal, I guess. I have 11 weeks left in the year, so just kind of seeing, okay, if I get, you know, the first half of the year, maybe that'll be about 30 weeks. But yeah, that'd be all broadcasting, but hopefully I get to bring my clubs to, you know, a few of those events and get to play some cool golf as well.
Again, I got here a little late, but what flexibility do you have to have this week, depending upon how you're playing and your broadcast? I'm sure that they have different scenarios for you. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is I won't be able to broadcast or commentate the full 18 holes tomorrow. So my feature group is 8:50, and I tee off at 1:18. So I obviously would love to do 18 holes for the next 4 days. But so that's one thing that I'll just have to be flexible in. And Julia Johnson, she's also on featured groups. So she was saying, oh, I can pick up your second 9. So we're good friends, and she's great at what she does. So we'll work together as well. But yeah, and then hopefully, you know, we're playing on the weekend, and I get to do the same thing as I will Thursday, Friday.
Congratulations on the recent wedding.
Thank you.
What was it like the last month or so preparing for that while juggling this busy schedule, while preparing for the Women's Open at Pebble as well?
Yeah, it was, I mean, I had a wedding planner, Nicole. She took the brunt of that planning, which was good. I'm very low maintenance, so for me it was like, as long as my guests show up and, you know, Charlie and I are at the altar and the priest is there, that's pretty much all we need. And the other thing that I really wanted was a great DJ with a lot of dancing. So, and we got all of that and more. My whole side of my mom's family is from Sweden, so I haven't seen them in like 10 years, a lot of them. So it was really special for them to fly over for the week. And my dad's side of my family are kind of dispersed throughout the United States. So I've been lucky that Charlie's family, they're all really close in proximity. So I've gotten to meet his grandparents and his cousins, and I'm very close with his whole family. But to have both of our families kind of unite was just really special.
Awesome. Thanks, Emilia.
Yeah, thanks, Emilia. Good. Oh, one more.
One more. I did meet your husband. He said you're not low maintenance.
He's right there, so if he wants to have an extra couple words.
I couldn't resist.
That's all right.
How familiar are you with Pebble?
I mean, I would say now, at this point, going into tomorrow, I'm very familiar with the course. It's definitely, you know, what you see is what you get. if the wind picks up, it's going to be tough just to hit those greens because they're so small. But I feel I have a good idea of how to chip out of the rough now at this point, how the ball is going to react, where it's really, really fast on the greens, and where some of the uphill putts are going to be like a little bit slower. Just need to get a little more pace for it to get there. But yeah, I feel I'm as prepared as I can be. One thing I like to tell myself is if I've done everything under my control to prepare and play my best golf, then that's all I can do, and just have a good mindset going into tomorrow. So, yeah.
All right, thanks so much. Good luck this week.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.